Hello and welcome to the next Lukozer retro game review video. For this one it is Zaxxon, which was released by Sega in 1982. Now when this game came along it was quite something. Nobody had actually seen a game down the arcades like this before, and of course the thing that really stood out was the diagonal scrolling. Nobody had ever played a game with diagonal scrolling before. In fact, horizontal or vertical scrolling shoot 'em ups were still pretty fucking new. You essentially had Defender and Xevious. So along comes Zaxxon with its diagonal scrolling, and people were quite amazed by this. Graphically, the game had an enormous amount of detail within each of the levels, especially as you're flying through the bases, as you, hopefully will see. No. Well, you'll see it while I'm playing the game. So, as well as an unusual perspective that nobody had seen in a game before, it featured some quite amazing graphics that nobody had seen before in an arcade coin-op. And it also had a feature in the gameplay that again nobody had seen before, because not only is there the diagonal scrolling, but if you move up and down, it doesn't move you, up and down on the screen. It actually adjusts your altitude. So if you are firing at enemy targets, you're having to make sure that your altitude is correct, as well as everything else. Now that said, the game wasn't actually that difficult to play. It wasn't easy to make any progress. The game is seriously challenging, but to actually play it, it's pretty straightforward. Get from one end of the level to the other, making sure that you don't run out of fuel, and destroy as many targets as possible before they destroy you. Now each level is split up into 3 sections. You get the first planetary base, then you are flying through space towards the second part of the second planetary base, and there you'll meet an end of level boss. Once you've dispatched him, that's that level completed. So basically 3 stages to each level. Now a fair while ago, or at least it seems like a fair while ago, it probably wasn't that long ago time wise, but certainly as far as number of reviews that have gone by, I did a review of the Commodore 64 conversion of this, and I thought the Commodore 64 version was pretty good. Indeed, it is a fairly accurate conversion, but when you play the arcade coin-op, the graphics are better, but as was so often the case, it was the vastly improved sound effects of the arcade original that made the difference. And consequently the arcade coin-op is quite simply the version. It's the best one to play. So with that in mind, let's get a game underway. Here we go. Now the game is quite loud. The reason for that is that I can't get a version with regular audio soundtrack. See what hit me there. Well, let's put that down to me completely fucking up. So because the audio is being done through samples, I can't adjust the audio level so easily. Right, that's got us through the first stage, so now we're into space. Now when you're in the space area, you can only obviously attack ships when they are in line with you. When they are, you'll see a cross appear in front of your ship, and you'll hear a beep telling you that you can indeed shoot them. Now while you're travelling through space, your altitude is not a constant. Oh, bloody close to the end of the level there as well. Yeah, your altitude does keep dropping. You need to keep adjusting it. Here we go. So we're now into the second part, the second planetary base. Now this one is rather more tricky than the first, especially if you fly in a fucking fuel tanks like that. You need to position yourself so that you can fly through the barrier, usually below it, but also fly above the wall. So using your shots to judge your position is the best bet. Here we go. And that's taking us to the end of the level, and we're facing the end of level boss here, which you destroy like so. So although I got off to a pretty bad start, I usually consider myself doing well if I can actually destroy the boss there. Now if you keep destroying those red cylinders there that look a bit like old gas towers, that's how you top up your fuel. Don't do it enough, then your fuel will just keep on going down, and once it's run out, then your ship explodes. Right, so we got through that section. Now into space. I've never got through the second space section, so I think I'm going to have a tough time here. I can't see me getting to... Actually, I'll tell you, I have got to the actual planetary base once. I don't think I'm going to do it this time though. This level does go on a fair while. Oh, fucking hell, I've done it. Right, here we go. Now, very small area that you can actually fly through here. And my fuel is very low. Needed that. And yeah, desperately trying to get the fuel and end up piling into... Right, I don't need to worry so much about fuel now. Now, if you stay at the same height for too long, a homing missile will come along and take you out. So, yeah, you do need to move around a bit. You can't just stick around in one area and say, yeah, that'll do, avoiding everything. So, there we go, game over. Didn't quite... It felt like I was going to get close to the second level boss there, but no. Right, start another game, and this time let's get the review underway. So graphically, I think it's great, and for 1982, I think the graphics are fucking superb. In terms of audio, well, the audio is where the arcade version of this really excels over any of the conversions. The audio is absolutely superb, as I completely bollocks that up. So yeah, I can't fault the audio at all. And the gameplay, it's just fantastic. It's a great shooter. And when you see how well this game plays, you'd be forgiven for wondering, you know, why didn't this sort of diagonal perspective, why wasn't it used more often? I can only think of two other games that had the diagonal perspective, and they both came along quite a bit later. You had Return of the Jedi, which came along 2 years later, and it was very mediocre. And then you had Paperboy, which came along 3 years later. Oh, fuck you, I wasn't watching what I was doing there. Yeah, you had Paperboy, came along 3 years later, and that was absolute fucking bollocks. In fact, Paperboy is one of my most hated games. Although I have to say the shittiness of the conversions does play its part in why I hate that particular game. It's not the only reason why I hate it, but it certainly contributes towards it. Not getting it. Fuck it, missed it that time. Right, on to level 2. So to score it, I will give this I'll score it 8.5 out of 10. It's almost good enough to get a 9, but in fact I can't think of a reason why I'm not giving it a 9. I mean, I have been scoring games a bit low lately. I mean, my score for Robotron was way too low. I gave it 8 out of 10. It should have got 9, even 9.5 out of 10. I think, yeah, this deserves a 9. I'll score Zaxxon 9 out of 10. That was a total fucking bollocks up. This game is also starting to absolutely fucking kill my arm. No problem with the old fuel. Let's see if we can actually get to... Oh, you fucking prick. I adjusted the height at the last second when I really didn't need to. Right, so I get through there, fine. Now we've got to somehow get through there. Yep, there we go. Well chuffed if I can get through this level, but oh, you fuck! Oh, there we go. So that is Zaxxon. So I think the game's great. Graphically fantastic for 82. Oh no, I still think graphically it looks fine now. Audio again fantastic for 1982, and I think the audio is still fantastic now. The audio suits the game superbly, and gameplay is absolutely spot on. So yep, 9 out of 10 for this. Definitely a recommended game. So that brings this review to an end, and we will see you at the next one.